7 habits that changed my life. 7 things that are key to improving my life. 7 things I've noticed that have changed how I see life. That's what we're talking about today. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Jocko Podcast. Here we talk about personal development from A to Z. That might look like setting out your first ever goal. That might look like achieving a thing you never knew you could. Or you would. So, if you're new, subscribe. And if not, welcome back. So for now, let us begin. As I was learning to become a coach, I was told by my mentor, you first make your habits, then your habits make you. And what that made me think of is how habits we do, whether we realize them or we don't, they are what make up who we are. They make up what we do, whether that's at work, whether that's with friends, whether that's by ourselves. So if we're not actively making them, what is happening? What life are we living? Who are we being? And that's what I encourage for myself to help you. The first habit I've grown is believing in myself. Believing in the words I'm saying, believing in the thoughts that are positive, and believing that I can do what I say I'm going to do. It's easy to neglect what you're good at. It's easy to neglect that you're doing something, and it's easy to neglect who you are. So with that negative sense and of how the world says you need this to do this and so much more, if you're able to believe in yourself, you can conquer anything. You can believe you can achieve, you can believe that you can do, you can believe that you can remove, that you can believe that anything in life can happen for the better. And with that type of belief, that positively cultivates action, that positively cultivates thoughts, that positively cultivates who you are and who you are being. Believe in being in the person you want to be. Because you have to start seeing yourself as that end goal. You have to start seeing yourself as that person who can do it. You have to start seeing yourself as that person who has it. You have to start seeing yourself there now. Without that, there's no attachment, there's no ideation, there's no momentum towards the goal, towards the achievement, towards what you want. I have to remind myself to believe in myself. The foundation of my life wasn't built upon believing yourself, but believing things can happen. So with that understanding, I can now look, okay, so if I need to achieve something, I got to believe in me. I got to believe in my capabilities. I got to believe that this can happen through what I can do. Do you have to do that as well? The second habit is making better decisions. In making a better decision for yourself, it makes things easier. That means making a quick decision and slowly changing it if it's incorrect. A brilliant way to think of it is, what have you done before? And does it relate to this time as well? Yes, embarking on a new journey means you're encountering new things, but there might be something similar that might require the same traits, the same behaviors, the same habits that you want exhibited. That might be problem solving, that might be analyzing, that might be evaluating, that might be having a discussion and communication. What things are you good at that can inform making better decisions for this? Because if it's something brand new, then it requires brand new information. It requires new sources to derive from, not own knowledge. So that's how you make the decision. If it's something you know already, you've got the resources mentally, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the experiences, so work with that. Making a better decision is really emphasizing that you do trust yourself, that you are confident in what you're saying, and that the overthinking that occurs is not going to override you, nor is that self-doubt. You trust yourself by making a choice and standing by it, by going for it and working with that. I mean, even if it's wrong and it takes you down the wrong path, you can change that slowly. You can adapt from there, not that it needs to be in perfect order for me to do anything at all. That's holding you back. That's neglecting what you're really worth and really putting down what you can give to this world or to the situation. I really do emphasize you start small, make a decision and stick to it, because there you are building your self-confidence and once again of who you are. The third habit is continuous learning. In education, we go to nursery all the way up to university to reach doctorate level. That is definitely 10 plus years of learning. If that's education, what about life? There's things you haven't experienced, there's events you haven't gone to, there's memories that you have that have all been learning curves, whether that's with family, whether that's with friends, whether that's at work, whether that's by yourself. So in life, there's continuous learning. Realize it, utilize it, and make sure you adapt from it. Because you've been through stuff. I love saying this. You've been through stuff, you've seen stuff. That stuff is going to guide you on what you do next. It doesn't inform, it doesn't dictate, but it guides, it helps, it gives an understanding of what you can do next. By habitually learning from what you're doing, you're continuously growing to where you're going. That's the emphasis, that's the idea I'm putting forward to you. Because the moment you think you know enough or you've done it all, you stop growing. The momentum you've created stops. The movement in which you're going stops. And that's not what we want. We want more. We want better. We want a much deeper aspect of who you are. So what does that look like? That looks like reading. It looks like studying. It looks like listening or even learning to people who've done what you want to do. For me, it's my mentors, my coaches. And for yourself, that could be me, your coach. I'm really encapsulating being a student of life. Not education, not the wrongdoings and the things you've been through, but of this thing we call life that encapsulates everything you're part of. Now the fourth one. But before we get onto that, make sure you press subscribe. Number 4, staying consistent. The habit of consistency in times when you don't even want to be is the most impactful habit you will have. When your mind tells you you don't want to do something, you have a decision to make to follow it or to assure it that you're doing something that's good for you. As you make a decision to do the thing that is bothering you, that you don't want to do, you're telling your mind, this is who I am and this is what we do. You're changing the wiring within your mind of what you achieve, of who you are and what you're becoming. That combination makes you more resilient, it makes you more confident, it makes you more able, it brings you closer to your goal, and it really emphasizes this person you're becoming. As you emphasize that, you reach that goal more because you're telling your mind, this is what I do. Your mind says, okay, maybe this is what I do. And it leans into that story more. You lean to that story more, you act in that story more, you lean again, you act and you become. That is the perpetuating cycle of staying consistent in times when you don't feel like it. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to have a healthy meal. You'd rather go to KFC, McDonald's because it's quick and easy. Those are times to perform at the most. As much as there is great days where everything's easy, that's when you go even harder because you can. But the times when you don't want to, you go even more to show to yourself how committed, how adroit this circumstance is to you to achieve. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't have to be on a big scale. If you're doing one thing, if you're working on one aspect, you're finalizing an idea, you're collecting data that you can use for the next day when you've got a bit more energy, you're walking, going for a walk if you're gym related, you're preparing your meal prep for the month if that's to eat healthier. You're doing one thing that's in accordance of being this person, of staying consistent. Not necessarily lifting the weights, not necessarily working at your desk, not necessarily building things by hand. Do you understand what I mean? Number 5, keeping true to my word. You know, if you say something and you don't do it, what that's going to do to you, right? You're just going to say another thing and you're not going to do that. You're going to say, oh yeah, I'll be here, I'll do this, and you don't do that. You don't show up for yourself, so really, are you going to show up for others? Keeping true to your word is a matter of staying disciplined, staying committed, and staying truthful to what you say you're going to do and what you're not going to do. Oh yeah, I'm going to achieve this goal, and then you don't do anything forward. Oh yeah, I've got this idea, I would love to see it happen, but you don't even make a plan. Stay true to your word and be honest and truthful and break through the barrier of fear of not knowing what you're going to do, not understanding what it takes, but much rather say to yourself, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, and listen to what you say. Rather than I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you don't do anything at all. Stay truthful to yourself is a habit. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of doing. And if you don't abide to that, you lose trust in yourself. You no longer think of yourself as this being because you're not staying true to yourself. So how on earth can you stay true to anyone else? It's about integrity. Can you be what you say you're going to be? Can you do what you say you're going to do? Honestly. Then start small. Don't start big to say, I'm going to change the world. Change your world first. The 6th habit is trusting God and not your human understanding. I was recently talking to one of my friends about this, that we humanize a lot of things, if that's even a word, where we think and we shrink down the supernatural power of God, of Jesus, of Allah, of the universe, some people call it, to the human level. If this happens, then this happens, then this happens. Yeah, it's this simple formula, that's the way. But no, there's things that supersede our understanding. That's what we call coincidences. There's things that override our comprehension. That's what we call deja vu. As we love to discuss on the channel about the human being that we're working with, there's a physical element, there's a mental element, there's an emotional element, and there's a spiritual element. So in the spiritual element, trusting God beyond your human understanding allows for you to be free. And that's what the Bible is about. It gives you breathing space to know that things may not look like they're going to move anywhere. You're doing the same thing every day. You're waking up on time, you're eating right, you're working out, you're working on your goals, you're there for your partner, you're there for your family, you're doing everything you can, but you're still in the same position, that's when you leave space for God to work. I have a concept called be spiritual but practical. You need to allow God to do his part in the world, in the universe. Otherwise, you're going to remain trying to logically understand every single aspect when there sometimes isn't. Gary Vee once put it, he didn't purchase Uber stocks early because what if he purchased them, went to an event and got hit by a bus? That would be his fate. He recognized if that had happened, he wouldn't even be here today. Things happen for a reason that we cannot always understand, that we cannot always reason, that we cannot always know why. But we can trust that God, the higher being, higher power, has a purpose for you. In the Bible, it says to prosper and not to fail. But you have to trust it. You have to allow yourself to see. You have to be willing to let go of it. And lastly, definitely the biggest habit, remembering that you've forgotten who you are. I'm sure you're either going for your goals or you've gone for goals before. And along the way, things are going well, things are going good, it's all smooth. But you tend to almost fall back in your old habits. You tend to think like you used to think and revert backwards. Like, what's happening? I'm trying to go forward, but something's holding me back. You've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten what you're capable of. You've forgotten the story of the truth. You've forgotten what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that is powerful. Remembering who you forgot you were. Remembering that you forgot who you were. Do that. You need to be actively aware of it, because it's easy just to slip back and be like, what's going on? You slip back, recognize it, and see you've forgotten who you are. In psychology, I learned that memory works in terms of short-term memory, things we just remember here and now for a couple minutes, and long-term memory, the memories from way back that are stored and kept forever. Short-term memory can hold up to 7 items roughly, like 7 things on our mind we can actually remember, say them there and then. Long-term memory can last for years. But how do we shift a short-term memory, this conversation, into a long-term memory? It needs rehearsal. It needs repetition. To remember that you've forgotten who you are, you've got to constantly remind yourself of who you are. That rehearsal of the story you tell yourself of what you're becoming. That rehearsal of the affirmations you say. That rehearsal of the habits you now do, so that it can remain in the long-term memory. Because that long-term memory intertwines with the subconscious. That subconscious is another field, another part of actions we take that we don't even know why, and that's a powerful way to use you to your advantage. Those 7 habits aren't just off the top of the head. They're things I've had to integrate. They're things I've had to learn. Those are things I've had to study over 10 years plus of being a coach. If you want to talk deeper about this, feel free to book a call in the link in the description or in my bio, and we can talk more about your situation and what habits you currently do and what you need to let go and attach to. My name is Kanchefu. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. If you did, make sure you press subscribe and watch this video here of how to break bad habits. I'm sure it'll help you. My name is Kanchefu once more. Share this video with a friend you feel needs to change their habits or will like this video. Have a good day, morning, night or evening, wherever you're in the world, and I'll see you next week for our next discussion.